I think the ability to be able to give shape to a company as an organization and place my own bets on my gut was the most exciting combination of things. I mean, always loved working with a really good team and always wanted to see if I had it in me to be able to place the right bets. So I think the combination of those two things and a great team that I had to start off with was what kept us going. Oh, everything. So, lifetime of earnings, we didn't raise a penny until we exited. So we were all in, as they say in poker, and I think, had about 3 months before my firstborn baby was out there. So we started off with nothing but intent and ended up with 3 kids between 3 co-founders and a venture. It was very exciting times. I think the best asset I had while I was starting up was my co-founders. You have to have very strong self-belief and you have to have very strong shared belief, because at some point or the other during a venture, all your assumptions will get challenged, all your thoughts will get challenged, and when the chips are down, it is really important that either you can pick yourself up really quickly or one of your colleagues, as in your co-founders, can pick you up really quickly, because it reflects on the team, it reflects on your own passion and motivation to keep sort of egging on, and it's, I think, at the end of the day, you have to go through the troughs to hit the crest. That's the one truth of entrepreneurship. So I was fortunate in that I'd worked at a couple of startups before I started my own venture, and one thing that I learned was at an early stage it's very important to have a few really good generalists. As the company matures, there is a need to sort of move to specializations. So one is you've got to have a good balance. The second important lesson was you got to get creative because the money's tight. What we did to sort of circumvent not having enough funding or not wanting to raise funding at the early stage was we incubated on a college campus, and we basically worked with the school trust and the sort of the faculty, convinced them that we could actually give students really, really good projects while we were sitting on campus. So we got lucky. We actually ended up with about 24 engineers who worked with us for a year, purely out of like passion for learning. So yeah, get creative, find free talent. It starts with you waking up, and it starts with the thought of, if you're in e-commerce particularly, how much revenue did we do yesterday, how many customers did we get, before you think about what's going on at home. I mean, it's true. It's like having a second wife and your first child. It takes a lot to get out of your bed every day and think first and foremost about your company. And you kind of owe it to yourself and to the folks that are investing their life and their energy behind your venture, because if you're not vested in it fully, you're not going to succeed. And I think that's a sentiment that I've heard and has been shared by tons of other entrepreneurs that I've worked with and met. It starts with the founder. If you're vested in it, if you believe you can make it happen, and if you're onto something that could happen, like succeed, it'll happen. Eventually it'll happen. Kind of learned this the hard way. The best thing you can do if you're trying to raise money is try and build a service or a product that doesn't need money. Because the one little secret that the venture capitalists will never tell you is that they'll give money to the people who need it the least, because that's where they find their security blanket. And we learned this the hard way because you're doing quick iterations and trying to become presentable, bet an idea, but very few companies become Google or Apple, and similarly very few companies get funded on a napkin idea. So execution is everything. I mean, execute. At some point, you'll find that your venture requires funding for the right reasons, which is you need to grow the concept, not change the concept, but grow the concept. that's, I think, the ideal time to actually get in front of investors.